Welcome to The View From Here, a podcast where we uncover the turning points, pressure moments, and the identity shifts that shape high achievers into who they are today. This show is for people who've built impressive lives on paper, but now their real story sits in the moments no one sees. The pivots, the breakdowns, the breakthroughs, and the internal rewiring that changes their trajectory. The View From Here is about perspective, the one you earn only by living it. Siobhan O'Donnell does not lead from performance facade. She leads from truth, known publicly as a business owner, speaker, and the voice behind the podcast, Power Without Permission. Siobhan speaks into leadership, ambition, and identity in a way that doesn't ask women to harden themselves to be taken seriously. Her authority wasn't built through certainty. It was forged through learning how to feel safe inside her own life. Much of Siobhan's work lives in the space between strength and softness, where survival gives way to trust, where ambition no longer needs to be earned through exhaustion. Right now, she's navigating a season where motherhood and leadership and healing coexist, where rest is recognised as structure, where presence is a form of power, and where success is no longer measured by status alone, but by integrity, impact, and who she gets to be behind the roles. What feels alive for Siobhan isn't growth for growth's sake. It's leadership without armouring, boundaries without guilt, voice without performance. This is a conversation about redefining power, about releasing survival as identity, and about what becomes possible when you stop proving and start leading from truth. Siobhan, welcome to The View From Here.
Thank you so much for having me. I love that intro.
How does it feel hearing that?
Oh my gosh, it feels so bizarre having somebody else do an intro on me.
Yeah, I bet. You're on the other side of the couch today.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. What does it kind of elicit inside of you when you hear all of those key aspects that are you?
Oh my God, it is insane how quickly my life has turned into this.
Wow. Tell me about that.
So
that journey.
I started last year.
Yep.
And I was not on the online space at all. Had no connections in the online space. Had only had Instagram for maybe a couple of months prior to that. So I wasn't really a social media kind of girl. And I went down the network marketing path. So I started in a health and wellness brand that I really align with.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of at a stage in my life where I was a little bit lost. My son, he started having some medical issues and I needed to make money. And I was also studying my law degree and working, so my double degree and working. And I was kind of at this stage of burnout. And I went to this business event called She Means Business.
Yes.
And it was absolutely life-changing to see in real life what all these other women had built for themselves and how they had stepped really out of their comfort zones to build it. And I met one of my mentors now, which is Tamara Maya.
Yep.
And she had this conversation with me about a month afterwards. And I was sitting in the car and I was kind of just confused with where I was going to go with my life. You know what I mean? It couldn't just be law for me. I needed more out of my life.
Yeah.
And she said to me, she was like, what have you got to lose? Like, what have you got to lose? What is holding you back? And then I realized that I never asked myself that question.
Yeah.
And
what a powerful, bold question.
Yeah. And I think from there, that's where everything really started for me.
Yeah.
That's where I really started to take the online space, to where it is. And now my health and wellness business, I've got 14 consultants and growing. So I've hit my first 20K month, getting very, very close to the 50K mark, which is absolutely insane. Almost finished my double degree.
Wow.
I'm writing a book. I am speaking on stage. I've got my podcast. Everything in the last, maybe 8 months has just been life-changing for me.
And that's a lot. Like most people would struggle to implement one of those things. Tell me, how do you juggle all of that? What do you think allows you to be able to hold space for all of those moving pieces?
I think it comes back to how I was raised.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
So I was raised by two really hardworking people that came from other countries.
Which were?
My dad's Irish.
Okay.
And he left school when he was 13.
Wow.
And came over to Australia when he was 16. And my mum was from South Africa and she grew up during the apartheid era. And she's coloured. So they both came to Australia and then built this life.
Yeah.
And I kind of saw them every day just working really, really hard. You know what I mean? Like never taking breaks for themselves, never having really anything in their lives other than what they did for work. And my dad worked in the trade union movement for a very, very long time.
Right.
So I think that's where I get the legal side of myself and that wanting to, the political side of myself and wanting to go down that road. But my mum, man, she's insane.
She was born into a very tough time, wasn't she?
Yeah, and she's just always been such a strong person and an inspiration to me to really step outside, and I'd say both of them actually, to really step outside societal norms of women.
Yeah.
And I think even though I have all these other things going on, and I'm not going to say that it's perfect and it's easy because I have my days where I'm burnt out like everybody else. But I think it's them that really, if I'm going to be honest, motivate me the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm building a legacy and I'm leading with impact. And I think those two things is what drives me to be this crazy.
So on those hard days, you know, the days where, you're tired, you've had a million things not go to plan, do you think it's having that deep understanding of your purpose that allows you to go, today is one of those days I've got to forge on and draw on those times?
I think it's not just my purpose. I think it's the person as well that I want to become and I want to be. When I look at myself in the mirror, I want to see that person.
Yeah.
So I feel like every day I'm taking a step, whether it's a big one, like, booking in lots and lots of clients and organizing things, or it's, a small thing, you know what I mean? I always make a step every single day towards my future.
I love
that. I wasn't always like that.
Yep.
So
tell me, what was the transition point that made you?
So I had really, really severe PTSD.
Okay.
And it was so severe to the point where I had panic attacks basically every second day of the week.
Wow.
So
that's a lot.
I couldn't live a normal life. I was in such stress. And my parents basically had to have me on an app. They had to have me on an app so they knew where I was, because when I would have a panic attack, I would basically black out and I wouldn't know where I was, what day it was, what was going on. They were so bad, hyperventilating. My heart rate would spike ridiculously. And it caused me to have a lot of social anxiety as well. So doing something like this today, oh my God, a year ago, there is no way. You would have said to me, you're coming to this location. I'd be like, oh, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And anxiety for me is really the fear of the unknown and living with that all the time, you know. And on top of it, I've always had very bad depression since I was about 13.
Yep.
So managing both of those on my shoulder every single day and functioning as a person has probably been one of the hardest challenges I still go through as a human.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to remind listeners of, that just because you're in such a better space than, say, you were 12 months ago, and you've obviously done some deep work on being able to find ways to manage those panic attacks, to know when they're coming on and implement tools and strategies, it doesn't completely go. It's just that you become more familiar with the discomfort
You
of the
put
comfort.
in steps every single day that allow you to not go into that mindset.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that even when you put all of them in, that it's going to work,
Yeah.
you know? And it's also, in a strange way, it's also like accepting your pain and stepping through it every day.
Discomfort with the
Like
discomfort.
I feel like I've got this big, ugly black ghost.
Yeah.
Kind of, that's just always on me all the time.
Yeah.
And I need to shake that ghost off. I need to get rid of that spirit, that energy, that whatever it is. It cannot be on top of me every day because it sucks the life out of me.
Sure.
It really does.
Exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what was that moment, if you can take us back, where you went, all right, now I've had enough. I don't want another panic attack like that. I don't want this to rule my life. Do you remember that day, that time?
I would say it was right after I had my son. So he was only a couple months old. And I started to have a panic attack and I was on my own. So I was parenting by myself and nobody else was around. So I didn't have any support. I'm very, very thankful that I was able to put my baby in a cot and make sure he was nice and safe before the full impact of it. But I didn't want him to see me like that. And I didn't want that energy to kind of linger on in my life. Like after anybody that has panic attacks knows the day after, it's like you've been hit by a train. You're physically exhausted. And I had a baby that relied on me, that I needed to get up every 3 hours and feed, and I needed to be able to go to work, and I needed to be able to function. And the panic attacks were taking the joy as well out of parenthood for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to connect in the way that I wanted to with my son because I was struggling with that entity on me all the time.
Sure.
And I just felt like the day after that happened, I woke up, I looked at myself in the mirror and I just went, no, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And my son deserves better, right? And that doesn't mean, like, obviously there are people with very, very severe things that doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter the modalities, and, you know, don't ever be ashamed of having them because it's part of life. But in my circumstance, I really do feel like it was a few incidents that happened to me when I was a lot younger that caused me to have that trigger that then continued those patterns. And until I faced whatever that was, I was never going to be able to cope as a person. And I feel like a lot of my 20s kind of just went to that.
Surviving.
To surviving, yeah. And just getting through life without feeling like I had that darkness over me.
Yeah. Wow. And obviously the strength that you were taught from both parents growing up, do you think that helped you, be able to create that consistency in the self-development work that was required to work through that? Because that would have taken an awful lot of resilience and persistence to be able to keep showing up and facing and working through, because it's not easy, is it?
No, I think that, my dad was a taxi driver for a very long time and my mum worked in a casino, and that was where they started with me. And there was nobody there to come and help them and say, I'll take care of the baby for you for a couple of hours, or I'll do the washing, or I'll make sure you've got money for bills. There was none of that. It was just like, this is what they had to do. And I think because of that specifically, that's where I've learnt it from. I've learnt it from those role models that I had. And I'm just really blessed to have seen that. And also, I was never ever told that where I grew up or where I came from had any impact on my ability to be the person that I was going to be. My dad always hammered it into me that I could do literally anything I wanted to do in this life, and that there was nothing really stopping me. It was all in my mind.
Wow.
And, you know, if you look at Anthony Albanese, for example, our Prime Minister, he grew up in social housing with a single mother.
Yep.
That is one person who you can definitely say that it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It does not matter about where you come from. It matters about what you do with where you come from.
Choice.
Also, I will say though, there are some situations where the starting lines are definitely swayed.
Sure.
I definitely come from privilege in that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a lot of choices that you can make as an individual that will really change your life.
Yep.
I feel.
And I like that statement you said before about what your dad really promoted to you, is that it's how you choose to see it and what you then choose to do with it. And I think that's a really powerful thing. And maybe we can say that that's also privileged to be able to see it from that perspective. But like you said about our Prime Minister, you know, he may have been disadvantaged, but he still made conscious choices to want to create something different and to be something different and keep striving and growing until you achieve those things. And I think that's so important to remember, that the people who may not be in the best situation right now, it's like one small action, one small step.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. It's taking one step a day.
Yep.
One step to your dream, one step to yourself. I think as mothers as well, we often feel very guilty.
Mum guilt real.
Mum guilt is real. For example, today I put my son in daycare before I came, and I felt so guilty that I was leaving him to come and do this interview today. But the other part of me was like, well, he's at daycare, he's being taken care of, he's being loved, it's okay. But that mum guilt can really get in your mind and stop you from pushing towards your goals. And I've met a lot of mums who have either started business with me or they've started to go down that path and they've stopped because they feel like they can't balance and juggle mum life and business life. And you definitely can.
But it's that guilt that they're not dealing with. And I guess maybe what you had experienced in the past with the panic attacks and seeing that the work you did allowed you to overcome that situation, to be able to manage it more. Do you think that adds and amplifies today in that hard moment where you could have had a choice to be like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to leave him at daycare. I just want to immerse myself in his time. But it allows you then to go, hang on a second, let's step back from this. What's that really about?
I think it's really important to do that and to also think about your future child and not the child that you're looking at right now.
Love that.
I think that's really important because a lot of us are looking at our children like they're going to be babies forever. And for me, one day he's going to be a man.
Sure.
You know, hopefully, fingers crossed, he's going to grow into a very strong, capable man. I don't want him to look back on life and go, I stopped my mom from achieving the things that she wanted to achieve. Obviously, there has to be balance too. You've got to have a relationship with your child. You need to prioritize that. That's very important. But I think there is a lot of guilt on women in society to just do that only. That you can't do both. And you definitely can do both. It's just being realistic about what it is you can take on in certain times and what you can't take on in certain times. There are seasons, you know.
I love that.
Yeah.
And knowing that those times where you've got to double down to get some things up and running, that's okay, as long as it doesn't become a lifetime of that, but realising it's got to shift and move.
Yeah, you know, like I get offered a lot to go overseas. That's kind of been a lot of the thing that has been coming up for me, which I've been struggling with. Where for me personally, it just causes too much instability with my son at the moment. I want him to be grounded in one space and his routine and everything. And that's my choice. But there is definitely times where I can go overseas and do something for work, but it's just got to be managed.
Prioritising which
Which one's more important,
Sure.
and how much time are you willing to take away to then, my dad, again, he always says to me, opportunity cost. You know what I mean? So one thing that you're choosing to do, you're losing on the other. And I think the problem is mums sometimes take it way too literal, that they have to be there all the time and that there can't ever be separation for them to be people as well.
Sure.
And, you see some mums as well that I've met, they get quite resentful towards their children because there is no time for them. There is no development in the person that they're becoming when they become a mother.
Sure.
And I love that the online space is giving women and mums that freedom to be able to work from anywhere. You know what I mean? You don't need to be in an office 9 to 5. You can build anything you want.
Yeah.
And personal branding is also becoming very, very important. On Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, like it's becoming the new form of, I guess, management, without having to hire a person to manage you and do your PR.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
But it's also about spreading the word that there's other ways to do things. There's not one way to parent. There's not one way to do education. There's not one way to do just anything. Like it's allowing us to see that find your own way.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's something that's very strong for you.
Yeah.
And I'm interested about that things that, travel might cost you in another way. How do you then make those decisions about what's right for you? Do you think that comes right back to what we were talking about earlier, where knowing who you are, what your values are, and having a deeper understanding of your purpose? And
I think it's very important to understand your values.
Yeah.
That is the most important. If you're going to go into any form of business with anybody or any brands, there are heaps of opportunities that I've had that have come towards me that I've turned down because they don't align with my values and they don't align with me being a parent.
Yep.
And they could make me a lot of money.
Sure.
But what
cost?
is it exactly what cost?
Yeah.
What cost does it come to you as a human being? Because I think we're all on the hamster wheel and we're all running rampant to get money. We have a lot of consumerism. We have propaganda on the internet. We've got, if you've ever read George Orwell's 1983, that is what's happening in our society. It's AI. It's, the big brother mentality. It's that whole
hustle.
Yeah, the hustle until you burn out. And don't get me wrong, there is so much power in women, especially getting money. I mean, 50 years ago, we didn't even have access to credit cards.
Nope.
Can you
have a bank account.
believe
Yep.
that we couldn't have our own individual bank accounts 50 years ago? How
Crazy.
insane is that, right? And now we've got this ability, but we've also got to manage it with being human too. So if you understand your values before you go into business or before you go and do a job or before you go and do anything in your life, relationships, motherhood,
Sure.
friendships,
Sure.
you protect yourself and you protect your energy, and then you're able to step into things and take in opportunities when it's required and when it's best for you. And I think that's been the most powerful thing for me.
Yeah.
Is figuring that out. And I'm still figuring it out. It's still like a long journey, but the fact that I've been able to spend that time to actually understand what it is that I want to do, how I want to be portrayed on the internet. What is it? Where are my limits?
Sure.
Where are the things that I will just not do? It doesn't matter how much money you pay me.
Yep.
I think that's really important.
And how empowering is that to know that you have the capacity to own that wholeheartedly? Because people will always push and demand, but they can only take what you allow.
Yeah. And that's so important. I really feel like if you don't have any boundaries on your energy and, where it is you're putting it out, you're at a loss.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize I was doing that. I was a people pleaser.
That was my next question. You sound so strong, so determined and so clear.
Yeah.
But I think that's really important to talk about because, okay, tell us how that used to look and what things you used to do.
So before I even went down the law path, I actually did my Bachelor of Science.
Okay.
And I wanted to be a vet, and that was my main kind of calling. And I realized as I was doing my vet stuff that it wasn't for me in the long term. It just wasn't giving me that passion, that drive. And at the time, I also had a partner who was very forceful on his ideologies of what I should be as a partner. You know what I mean? Like, you have to stay at home and cook, and you have to dress a certain way. You need to keep your body in a certain weight, and you need to approach, his family and friends in a certain way. And I didn't realize it at the time how controlling that was, you know what I mean? Because I was so young. But between that kind of loss of identity of like, oh my God, I thought I was going on this path and now this isn't what I want to do, and just working, and I ran, I did a lawn mowing business. I had a lawn mowing business.
Love it.
I had my 1997 Corolla, and I had my dad's lawnmower in the back, and I went to people's houses and I mowed their lawns, and I was like, pay me. That's where I was at, at that time.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the main thing was I just felt like I was giving so much energy. It was like, I need to be this person for that person. I need to be this person for that person. And then I'm going to step into my own kind of identity, and then I'm dating people, and then those people are telling me that I can't do that because I'm a female and I've got to do this, and you have to be more feminine, and you have to be more, girl boss, and then you like all these things. And then I think going through this process of building my business and really putting strict boundaries on things has really enabled me to stop being as much of a people pleaser as what I used to be.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's growth.
Yeah.
How does that feel when you now think about that?
I feel like I was living such a different life.
Yeah.
Like before, I would be so scared of coming to something like this because I'd be like, what if she doesn't like how I look? What if I look fat? What if this? What if that? And now I'm actually able to live my life without looking through the lens of myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not an outsider looking in. I'm that person, and I'm seeing everything for what it is.
Yeah.
And it's been incredible.
Freeing.
Yeah. So freeing. Yeah.
It's, do you think that also was another layer that was adding pressure to the panic attacks and the anxiety that was surrounding that, the depression that accompanied that?
Yeah.
Do you think finding your own voice, finding comfort in who you are, accepting who you are?
Yeah. I think, I grew up in the era where we just got social media.
Yep.
I know it's controversial, but I love the fact that kids don't have social media anymore in Australia. I think it is the best thing.
Me too.
That they have done for young people, because I grew up in the era where we had Tumblr and we had Bebo and we had basically glorified Pinterest, right? So it was every day looking at photos of people with the perfect life, perfect body, perfect house, perfect relationship, perfect. It's put in your brain in a subconscious level, and you're taking that in.
Yep.
And then you're assuming in order to live your best life,
you have to be that.
You've got to be that way, and there's no other way around it. And for me, the biggest thing that I grew up around as well was plastic surgery was a very big thing. I don't know if it's that much in society anymore now.
Yeah. Yep.
But it was like you
There's
have
TV
to get
shows about it.
Yeah, you had to get, you had to look like Kim Kardashian. You had to have the big lips and the big boobs and the big bum and the very, very tiny waist. But you also had to be able to run 10 kilometers, and you also had to,
marry the perfect person, have the perfect kids, have the perfect job, run the perfect business.
Have the perfect friends, like you would see on social media, have the big groups of friends.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you realize you don't need 10 or 20 friends or even 10 or 20 business people. You just need a small collective of people that really support you and lift you up.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I think I've grown through with this whole business journey
Mm-hmm.
is when I started, a lot of people that were around me kind of dissipated.
Interesting. And why do you think that is?
I originally, in my immature mind, kind of thought, oh, they just don't like to see me be successful, or it was something very immature like that. But I think it's more about the fact that once you level up emotionally and energetically, those people don't align with your values anymore.
Correct.
And it's got nothing to do with them as people. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not mean or horrible. It's just your values change.
Different
you know what I
chapters
mean?
of life.
You don't want to get drunk every weekend. You don't want to waste money. Consumerism.
Mm-hmm.
I've realized something. Very successful people that I've met are not massive on consumerism.
Nope.
It's actually the opposite. Where
They buy quality
Yeah.
with certain things and that's it.
Yeah, but they don't have like big wardrobes, massive handbags, the fancy cars. It's
Yep.
very much the opposite,
They indulge in one of those, but
yeah,
not all of them.
Yeah, it's kind
Yep.
of spread across.
Yep.
And then when you're actually around more successful people, you're like, oh my God, why was I thinking I needed to be so flashy and be so, not myself to fit in?
It's kind of performative in that sense. And that's what we've been talking about, is finding that authentic self and who you are and listening to that. But I think sometimes you can fall into the trap of feeling you need those things to be respected in those worlds. But really, the respect comes from the value you bring as a person.
Yeah. And I think also I had a little bit of an inner dialogue where, and it's probably going down a different path altogether, but being mixed race growing up was really difficult. And it was not because of bullying and things like that. That was one kind of section of it. But I think it was more just around the fact that I didn't fit into one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't a lot of people at that time that were like me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I don't have frizzy hair or thin hair. I've got both,
Yep.
for example. You know what I mean?
Yep. Sure.
I don't have tan skin, but I don't have white skin.
Yep.
I like that kind of played in my mind a little bit, and it added on that extra level of pressure because I didn't feel very accepted in one or the other cultures.
Sure.
So it kind of made me always feel a bit uncomfortable.
Isolating?
Yeah, very isolating, because there wasn't a lot of people that understood kind of what that's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it comes down to things, especially for, I think, I can't speak for men because I'm not one, but for girls, when you're growing up, there's a whole psychology behind this, but how you start to work out who you are and what's socially accepted and things is, it's the art of comparison. You test things, you see how others are doing it, and you mirror. And so if you don't quite look the same, how do you mirror the things that the little girl with blonde straight hair is doing? Because your hair doesn't sit like that.
It's so funny because one of my first ever paintings I ever did was a blonde angel. My mum's still got it in her room, her study, with wings, and she's got blue eyes, and she's got white skin, and she's got the blonde hair. Because back when I was younger,
that's what you're surrounded by.
That was the trending thing. That was like the blonde,
sure,
you basically,
Yeah.
the blonde babe with, the beautiful hair and the skin and everything else. And it was like, why don't I look like that? And when I wear clothes that someone else wears, it doesn't look the same, you know what I mean? And just differences in like how my parents raised me versus how other parents raise other kids. And
two cultures in another foreign country would have been very different.
Yeah.
Even just the food you eat and
when you were allowed to date, for example.
What was that in your house?
That was until I pretty much was almost left home. Like that was,
sort of strict, quite
very, very strict. Yeah. But probably when I was about 18 was like when I was, okay, you can. But there was a whole time where I was like, no, we don't.
And did you date and just keep it quiet?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So you learnt that.
Yeah. No, but I think I was always a bit of a rebel that way. I was always I'm just going to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
I can see that in my son a little bit too. It kind of scares me.
Well, at least you're prepared for it because you've lived it yourself.
Yeah.
You know, not to be fooled by the facade of, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. And I went to a Catholic school for a little while, and then I went to an all-girls Catholic school, and that didn't last very long. I lasted there about a year, and I was...
Wasn't for you.
No. It was... I just felt so... I don't even know what the word is, but encapsulated, maybe, where it was kind of like you have to wear your skirt at a certain length, and women
Conform.
have to do cooking classes, and women have to do, I can't remember what the other one was.
Textiles? Was it? Sewing?
Yeah, sewing. You know, we have to do sewing, and then we have to spend all this time learning about religion. And I didn't want to do that. I was like, I want to be myself. Yeah. Why do I have to dress a certain way? The boys across the way, they got to wear shorts when it was hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They didn't have to carry around these big, massive bags with like 20 textbooks in them.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of resentment. And then the priest that I looked up the most ended up being a pedophile.
Wow.
And that was a massive betrayal for me.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people in my religion and community were kind of like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And that kind of snapped me even more to go, this is not for me, you know?
Yeah.
I'm still religious, but I just think it really did play a role in, I guess, wanting to also be an advocate for vulnerable people.
Yeah.
And wanting to work in the law space in doing that. Because I feel like it's very difficult when you're a minority and I'm not saying women are minorities, but in most situations we are more vulnerable than men in, specific circumstances. And I feel like when you have the ability to actually advocate for people, that's a powerful thing.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think, the confusing thing about school is you're told what is right and wrong.
Yeah.
You're not told to think laterally. You're very much encouraged to conform. You're told what is good and what is bad.
Yeah.
And therefore you can kind of see how when you get out into the big wide world, it can be confusing, can't it? Because it's like, well, hang on a second, those people have authority, but I don't agree with them. So that guilt kind of creeps in, because how do you know then what you're feeling is okay?
Yeah.
And to trust that, and this is the right situation because you've been told to listen to authority. It's confusing.
It has been very confusing. And growing up, I had a mixed relationship with the police. I grew up in I wouldn't say the lower class, but I was in the middle class. And the schools that I went to and the people that I was around were involved in a lot of crime and things that they should not have been doing. And there was a lot of resentment towards police. You know what I mean? That it wasn't a trusted agency. They didn't look at them like, oh my God, we want to tell you everything. It was more like, these were the people that were coming in and knocking down doors and saying, we're taking this child away and putting them in foster care. This is, the people that arrested, let's give a name, Billy. You know what I mean? For doing something he should not have been doing. But I also think a lot of kids were just surviving the situations that they were in, you know what I mean? And the parents that they had that couldn't heal from their traumas that were then passing it down to their kids.
Yeah.
And so growing up in that environment also kind of showed me a complex side of, the world a little bit. And I feel like all of it's kind of made this mix into what I am now. And it's exciting. It's got a positive future, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I love that you can recognize that we are a product of our upbringing, but then it's still knowing that there's power in, okay, that's not working for me. What can I do about it? And how can I change that?
Yeah.
And the fact that you in 12, 18 months have literally flipped your life upside down.
Yeah.
While studying, while working, while raising a child. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think I take moment like today driving here was like, oh, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm not processing it. Like it's like I'm in a foreign land sometimes.
And why do you think that is?
I think because I'm still grieving my old self,
Okay.
but I'm also happy with the new version of myself.
I want to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Grieving your old self.
Mm.
So if you had to describe old self in a couple of sentences, how would you describe them?
Angry, resentful, drained, depressed, probably not motivated
Okay.
as an individual. Just very angry, not even about specific things that happened to me, but things that I had to grow up around and see.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like now I have a completely different relationship and respect for police officers and people who risk their lives really to keep everybody safe in the community. But back when I was younger, it was like you'd see them and you'd be like, oh, you know, like what are you doing here kind of thing.
But you must have been influenced by the people around you's
Yeah.
opinions and the perspective that they were encouraging you to see.
Yeah. And so it's like a completely different, it's a different person altogether. It's a
Yeah.
different whole thing. Like my
Shed
whole
it.
life has just, shed it. I basically shed it.
Yeah.
And it's figuring out who is this person.
Yeah. And so if you had to describe the current version of yourself, what words come to mind?
I would say enlightened.
Yeah.
Happier.
Mm-hmm.
I would say motivated. And I would say inquisitive.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So literally the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Very, very opposite.
From the old version to the new version.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that that's why there's an element of, wow, how did I even get here? Because it's been so fast, but also so vastly different.
Yeah, I think because it's happened so quickly. Yeah. You know, I had 400, for example. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but I had 400 followers on Instagram only maybe 9 months ago.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like that, I'm not saying I'm like a influencer or anything like that, but it's a massive jump.
No, but you are an influencer.
Yeah.
I think we tag that or coin that title with something that's not valued. But I think in the situation of any different industry, in your industry, that's valuable because look at all the things that you advocate. Look at the things that you can promote. Look at the people's lives you can change and show that they can also do what they desire.
Yeah.
Like that's an influence that we want. That's a positive influence.
Yeah. And I think again, it's that inner dialogue for me that I need to work on and change.
Yep.
But you know, it's a journey, and I feel like I want to show people the journey of who I'm becoming.
Yeah.
Because I don't want someone to sit there and say, and I've had a message like this recently, that they feel like they're a shit mum because they're not doing all of these things. You know what I mean? Because that's definitely not it at all. I think being a mum in general is a very hard job.
Full-time job.
It's
365 days of the year.
It doesn't stop, and it gives you're basically giving all of your value and all of your life to another human being to make them successful. I mean, that's the most beautiful role in society, full stop, you know?
Absolutely.
So when I get messages like that, you know, I think I want to show people the reality of me in all different aspects of it. Yeah. And I don't want people to ever think that I've become this perfect human and everything's, you know, great and dandy all the time, because it's definitely not.
So that's an interesting comment. And what's something that maybe the viewers don't know about the behind the scenes aspects that create the challenges that you face as juggling a lot of balls at once?
Well, it's not a very deep example, but I don't go to the gym till 10 o'clock at night.
Wow. That's late. What time are you going to sleep?
Maybe 1 o'clock.
What time do you get?
Like 5.
Wow. So you're functioning off 4 hours sleep.
Most days, yeah. Because I've got work,
Mm-hmm.
I've got to pick up my son, take care of him, get him into bed, get that whole routine done. Then I've got maybe a couple of hours of reading to do from uni. Do you see what I mean? Then I've got to manage a household. I've got dogs. I've got all these other things.
Cleaning,
I've still got to
domestics.
upload things on social media because I don't have that person yet that I can, or
Delegate.
to be honest with you, it's more of like a leadership issue where I don't want to delegate. But
we can work on that.
where I'm like, I don't want to let go of my baby. It's my baby. And then I don't go to the gym till around 10 o'clock most nights. If I'm lucky enough where my day's not busy and I'm not at work or I'm not doing other things, I can maybe go in the morning and then I can get an actual night's sleep. But most days of the week. And on a social aspect, I'm not out every single weekend living it up with my besties. You know what I mean? Most of the time I'm just at home with my son. Catching up, breathing, getting some sleep.
Yeah.
Spending time with my family is mostly what I do, you know. And I think it's very easy on social media to just assume that I'm living this because you can see me, I'm going to different hotels, I'm speaking at events, I'm doing things like this. It's very, very easy to be like, she's just living the dream life. She's got no responsibility. She doesn't take care of her son. She's got a nanny. But that's definitely not the case. And I want people to know, especially mums to know that I feel you and I am there. I understand what it takes and I understand how hard it is. But you can still do it.
Of course.
It is still definitely possible. But I wouldn't say to anybody, do it just because you want money. I would say do it because you want to lead with impact or you've got a passion that you're really driven to, you know?
Yeah.
Like for me, my podcast is my passion.
Yeah.
I love talking to people about their journeys and getting a key insight into, what makes them, because I feel like the more storytelling we do like this, the better.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we've lost that connection with other people because of social media and the way our society is wired. We've literally just become glued to our screens and we're not having these conversations anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's not having the depth of conversation. I think social media, amazing. It's so good for what it is, but it's 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 10 seconds. It's like, well, how much can you actually really learn about someone
and dive
in that short period? You can't. Whereas that's long form content. That's the value of it, is that you're actually seeing and hearing a little bit more about the real other aspects. It's not that all of those things on the short form aren't real.
Yeah.
It's just, this is also real. This is also the authentic self. This is also reality sometimes. And I think that's an interesting thing. We like to focus on the story of, here's the sad part, success, that hero journey.
Yeah.
But it's hearing you talk about going to the gym at night at 10:30 p.m, trying to juggle study, trying to juggle all these things. And I'm sure there's a multitude of other things that happen that we don't need to share with everyone, but that's important because that's reality.
Yeah. And I think it is very easy to say to people, if you do this, you get this outcome.
Yeah.
But
it sells. Sounds good.
It does. It sells. But the reality is that, there's way more to all of this than what people realize. There really is.
Like your dad said. There's two sides to that coin.
Yeah.
What are you trading?
Yeah. And I think every time my poor dad, every time I go to tell him that I'm taking on another opportunity or something, he's just like, I can't, this is just too much. Like, it gives him anxiety. So I've also learnt to, and I think the biggest thing over the break was for me stepping back from the computer a little bit and just having a moment of like, okay, I do need to cut back on certain things and focus more on other things.
Yeah.
Because I do also need to live my life and figure out what that is.
Yeah. So what do you do for fun? Like look, tell me what your things are that fill your cup. Do we have time for that cup?
Look, I love my dogs.
Yeah.
Love them. I've got 3 sausage dogs and a bulldog.
Oh, you got 4 dogs.
Yeah, I've got 4 dogs. So I'm a crazy dog lady.
Oh, me too.
And I love doing things like going to the beach with them and getting a coffee and a puppuccino. And I like hikes. I like, music. I love music. Books. I've got a Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
And I love to play my Switch. Pilates, massive fun thing for me. I know it's still in the exercise vein, but I'm obsessed with Pilates. I love cold plunge. I love sauna. I love breath work.
Beautiful.
I guess, see, for me, it's kind of a hard balance because those are the things that give me fun. Those are things that fill up my cup personally.
Because they're about you.
Yeah. And I also just and I don't know if I'll ever get time to do any of this, but I'd really love to restore like old cars and kind of work on that. It's kind of like a future project.
Yeah.
Maybe have a farm one day.
Yeah.
But for me, it's all those little moments that I'm learning to take more joy in than the big ones.
Yeah.
Because every day is the same thing for everybody. It doesn't matter how much money you have or where you live. You all wake up and you all have to get out of bed and do something, whether you're going into an office or you're at your desk at home or you're outside here. You know what I mean? And if you don't learn to take in joy from those smaller moments, you're only ever going to be crushing and wanting the big ones.
And resenting.
Your life on a day-to-day basis. And for me, I'm trying to cut all that back and just look at what are the fun moments for me. You know what I mean? What brings me joy? And like, I have a very, very close relationship with my parents, as you can probably tell from the interview, but I love going and seeing them and seeing their dog. They've got a Rottweiler and his name's Marv, and he's a big baby. And I just love sitting there with them, having a coffee and, swimming in the pool with them or whatever.
Quality
and
fun.
Just taking those moments, you know what I mean? Having my son there and getting to see him spend time with his grandparents. I never got to do that.
Yeah.
My Auntie Millie, who passed away this week, she was, that person who pretty much stepped in and took up that spot because my other grandparents didn't spend a lot of time with me. And I feel like I was very, very blessed to have that. And it's so cool to see that my son has got, my parents and my brothers and people that are surrounding him with all this love,
Yeah. Beautiful.
And it's just so great to see. So for me, it's those little moments in life. I want to start soaking up more of those. And the great moments are fantastic and take those as well. But I think it's, it's really just making life happy.
Yeah.
Every day, because we don't know how many days we have left in our lives.
I always say that time is a gift, not a given.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that you are now allowing yourself time to reflect and prioritize for this next season. You've obviously been in that double down season. I don't like to call it hustle season because it's
very
too
stereotypical.
it's overused. But double down season, and now it's step back, reflect, reassess, and now work out what is aligning with you in this version today. What maybe it needs to shift or move or be let go of, and what other things do you want to add in?
And I think also writing a book and working through that is bringing up a lot too, and it's making me see things a lot more differently because I'm writing everything down, right? So you're getting that into perspective that you didn't really know.
Yeah.
And I would say to people, even if you don't want to publish a book,
just write
something.
Yeah.
Writing has been,
it's kind of therapeutic.
It is. Yeah. And it's just so relaxing, and it's so into dialogue, you know what I mean? You're really looking within yourself and working out things that you need to work out. Because I think it's very easy for people in this world to go through life never looking inside.
Yeah.
And especially as people in business, we have all these goals and we have sales and we have things that we want to achieve. But
what else?
What else is there? You know what I mean? You can get to those goals, and I'm not saying don't have them, but what is left at the end of the day, because one day you die and you don't take any of this stuff with you. You don't take any money with you. All you take is the memories that you made and the life that you lived. So for me, I think the biggest goal is to really step into living more of a life and building my businesses and doing everything in time, but also allowing myself to have a little bit of flexibility. You know what I mean? I don't have to continuously push it 24/7, 365 days of the year. And
delegate. Am I hearing that delegation might be a one that needs to be worked in a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely need to delegate. I'm at that stage.
There's resistance there. I'm watching your body language change. You've like choked a little bit.
Yeah.
What is it about delegation that presses your buttons?
I think it's the fact that this means so much to me.
Yeah.
This whole journey has been so personal, not just, financial. So I'm hesitant because I'm like, it's time to get that content person. It's time to get somebody to design my website for me, set up my podcast episodes, It's time to maybe even get assistance with Killian once a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because raising children is hard and it's okay to have a break, but I haven't been letting myself do that. I've just been, you've got to be a mum and you've got to show up. And again, I think it's that old school mentality that's just in my brain. I just can't let go of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely going to come to that point. And I've also put boundaries on how many interviews I'm doing a month and how many events I'm going to a month and all of that, because I think towards the end of last year, I was just saying yes to everything. Yeah. So I'd be at home for one day, Gold Coast the next day, Sydney the next day. I'm taking Killian to all these things and uni exams and work and everything. And I was just like, this, like I was just, you know what I mean? I'd be on vacation, but I'd have my laptop out and I'd still be working.
Yeah.
We don't want to get there again.
Yeah.
But I think definitely it is a hard process.
Yeah.
Especially when you want to scale to that next level, you really need to delegate and find a team of people that are going to really be in your corner, because I think that's important too.
Well, you can't possibly scale and keep growing and then also expect it all of yourself, because it doesn't allow you to be the expert in your particular areas and you're detracting from those that are also expert in theirs that can amplify you.
Yeah.
But it's a hard transition, isn't it? Knowing when is that right time and how do you do that? How do you find those right people to align? But I love how you said that you went on holidays, laptop on your lap, and you don't want to do that again. But hey, had you not been on holidays with your laptop on your lap, you wouldn't have known that was now a non-negotiable for the new version of you.
Yeah. It's
about owning it.
I went to Thailand and it was a business trip and they had paid for me to go, which was amazing. And I think, I pushed myself a lot in that trip too, where I actually stepped out of my comfort zone and I did a lot of like rock climbing and kayaking and just like random things that I would never have really done prior to that because of my anxiety and my depression and stuff. But yeah, I had my laptop out and I was trying to write my book and I'm trying to film classes and I'm like, hold on.
What am I doing?
What are we doing? I'm in Thailand. I don't need to be on my laptop. Like, it can go away, you know what I mean? And then I packed it away and I just enjoyed the trip and I really got the most out of it that way. And I just, I hope if there are other people listening to this, especially business owners, that they understand that you got to treat it kind of like a 9 to 5 as well. You know what I mean? You have to have limits on how many hours a day you're going to be committing to certain things. And I definitely think, of course you need to get content out there. You need to hit all your goals. You can't just stop completely because then your business tanks. But you need to feel that there are systems in place specifically that are going to keep your business going. So if you do have something happen in your life or you want to take a break for yourself, you can do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the goal that I want to work towards, you know?
Yeah. And how do you see that? Like what is the current version of you that is prioritizing? So what does the next few months look like for you? What's 2026 priorities?
2026 looks like a lot of expansion.
Okay.
But it looks a lot more like delegation. So it looks like paying the person to film all my content for me for my classes, for example.
Yep. And what are the classes in? Tell me about those.
So I have the Power Without Permission framework, which is an 8-week class.
Yep.
And it talks about basically my journey, but it sums it up into 8 weeks. And it helps women really step into their higher self, you know, before they can scale to their first 5K or their first 10K or whatever it is they want to do.
Sure.
So it's more of an interpersonal development kind of course that also looks at the very, very fundamental basics of branding and, you know, putting yourself out on social media.
Yeah.
And for me at the moment, I've been doing, you know, live Zoom calls for that. And I've been, you know, face-to-face every single week, which I think is important. But I would like to, you know, record a lot of my classes and have them up there so that I could do it every second week, for example.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I'd like to get an assistant and have somebody, you know, helping me with emails and responding to different inquiries and, you know, getting some PR and kind of just looking at it more from that perspective. And I've got a brand that I'm starting, a loungewear brand.
Amazing.
So that is going to be taking off this year as well. And, you know, with my speaking, I really want to get into more stages and do more things like this, you know, more podcast interviews with other people and just really leverage my authority a bit more, but also start increasing my capacity for other streams of income where I can really start growing.
Yeah, great.
And finishing my uni degree this year.
Yay.
Becoming a lawyer.
Wow.
That is my big goal.
That's a massive one.
Yeah.
How's that feeling? That's huge.
Oh,
because how many years?
3 years.
On top of the other degree as well.
Yeah. So it's been a journey.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It's going into the unknown, even though I know what the unknown kind of is, but I'm kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
And I just love the fact that I'm going to, you know, hope I don't bite my own back when I do this or, you know, stuff myself off. But I think it's just interesting that, you know, when I was very, very young, I used to always say to my parents, oh, I'm going to be a vet and then I'm going to be a lawyer and then I'm going to do this and have a business. And they used to look at me like, what is she talking about? Like, you can't do all that. And now I'm building a life where I could be able to do that. You know what I mean? I could be able to be a lawyer during the week and then weekends be able to do whatever it is I want to do, my podcast, my course, my brand, you know. It's just like the life that I've always wanted to have is starting to really come into fruition.
Yeah. Is there a little bit of fear around that you might actually be getting all that you asked for and it's literally at your fingertips?
It is, yeah.
What do you think it is that drives that fear?
I think it's a little bit of lack of self-worth, a little bit of not feeling like I deserve the things that I've worked hard for.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like I struggle with the recognition of what it is that I have achieved.
Why? Have you always been that person though?
I think so. I think I have. I think I've always been like, okay, I've ticked this off. Now what's next?
Do you think it comes back to that kind of tall poppy syndrome in Australia where it's like, oh, don't praise yourself too much because you'll be seen as up yourself or arrogant or egotistic?
I think it could be that too. I think it's like I don't want to be, I'm not that kind of person anyway, but, you know, a boastful person. But at the same time, I also want to pat myself on the back and say, I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not good. I'm doing a bloody great job.
Yeah. There you go.
Language.
See?
Yeah. But
it's language.
It's the power of language.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think this is so valuable because you are very successful, very driven, but such a beautifully humble person with it. But I think it's important to recognize that even with all those things, it doesn't resolve everything about us. It doesn't resolve sometimes how we feel about ourselves. So chasing the accolades of success is one aspect, but if you are going after it to make yourself feel better, You're going to be really disappointed at the other end.
Yeah. I mean, I had that realization last year. I was paid to go to a very, very high-end event where I was speaking at.
Yep.
And then I was also paid to stay at a very, very fancy 5-star hotel on the Gold Coast, you know, massive penthouse suite. And I was there on my own because the travel and stuff with my son, he wasn't well, and I didn't want him to come and his ears and all that kind of thing. But I was only there for 2 days, but I thought, you know, oh my God, I get to wake up and go down to this luxury, you know, spa, and they're paying everything for me. And oh my God, I get to go and do this and that. And I've got this beautiful Porsche downstairs that I'm driving. It's a hire car, but they've given it to me to drive. And I'm like, oh, this should feel a lot better than how it feels.
And what did it feel like?
It just felt like some bizarre dream that I was in, but it was also like, is that it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is that all that is? Because I thought for some reason when I had achieved that, that I was going to be this whole new person and everything was going to change.
Yep.
And then it happened and I was like, it's nice.
Sure, but it's fleeting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change that niggling voice in your head saying I'm not good enough or whatever, not saying that's you, but it doesn't change that internal dialogue you have.
Joy
with
in life, that everyday joy.
Yeah, from the small things.
Yeah. I mean, you see like 50 Cent when he does his interviews and he always talks about...
I love his interviews.
He always talks about, and I can't quote him exactly, but he always talks about the fact that, you know, people that are really, really happy when they're poor with nothing are the ones that enjoy success the most because they see the joys in everyday life.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest kind of form of like awakening for me.
Yeah.
Is I definitely want to build, you know, wealth and I want to build a legacy and I want to be successful and I want my son to have the freedom of, you know, what his life is going to look like and teach him hard work and all of that. But I also want the joy. The joy for me is more important than the flashy things. It really is. And I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. That's that kind of point that I've hit.
Beautiful.
Which kind of goes a bit with your podcast, you know what I mean? The view from that perspective is like, it's that understanding of even when you get those things. Now what? What do you do with it?
Yeah. And look, it's a particular topic I am extremely, you know, I love to talk about it because I see it all too often. You know, I used to see athletes make it to the peak of their career, but at the cost of often failed marriages. Their body was beaten to a pulp. You know, they were lacking inside. They started to develop all of these fears that what if they lose it all, which then impacted their performance ultimately. And so then they started losing it all because they sabotaged it themselves. So they were at the peak of their career, the things that everyone else would die for, the things that they would have died for, you know, 5 years ago.
When you look at Lamar Odom, for example, had everything.
And then now?
Beautiful wife, you know what I mean, had the career.
But he was empty inside.
And then got to a certain stage and he just...
self-destructed.
Destroyed it.
Yep.
And...
Amy Winehouse,
who's one of my favourite singers of all time. Love her music. Again, she got everything. She was here and then she got everything and then it just tanked. And I think it's so important that we heal within ourselves so that we can accept and I also...
and enjoy.
Yeah, I also think that the reason why I'm not at the stage of business that I could be at and my truest self and my higher self is because I've still got a lot to work through.
Love that.
I really, truly believe that once that part of me is healed, I am willing and able to accept more success into my life.
Beautiful.
And I think without this journey, I wouldn't appreciate the ending anyway. So I feel like it's just one of those things where it's like you get to get all this amazing joy and this, you know, this joyous thing of life, but it's how do you manage it as it comes, you know?
And how do you pivot and evolve?
Yeah.
because I
without
don't think we
letting
ever
go of
get
yourself.
there.
Yeah.
It's that it's forever
Yeah.
evolving.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes that you have this top goal and you've never thought beyond that. And so when you do get there, it's like, oh, but there's still more, but I don't know what that is anymore because I only got to there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is, I love that. And I can't wait to see where it all takes you and the growth
you.
that you have. And I love hearing you speak. Like, it's quite mesmerizing. I think you have so much value to give. There's substance to what you say.
Thank you.
I can hear how well read and educated you are on the topics you talk about. There's always intention behind what you're saying. You don't say it to be reactive. You don't say it from an emotionally volatile place. I can see that you've worked through a lot of things.
Thank
and
you.
what an incredible powerhouse you are. And I think if anyone listening to this can take away one thing, it's know who you are, double down on those things and allow yourself to feel that. But find your own formula, which is what this podcast was about. There isn't one formula that is going to fit the next person and the next person.
And this doesn't just apply to women. This is important for men as well.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone listening, that is not, gender related at all. This is anyone literally with a heartbeat who's walking this earth.
Yeah.
They could apply this. So just a couple more questions I would love to ask, because I know your time is precious and I appreciate you coming down here today. If you had to give one bit of advice to a listener listening who's feeling overwhelmed, a little burnt out, and kind of stuck in the hamster wheel of society, what would you suggest them to do?
I tell them to switch off for 24 hours.
Yep.
Grab a notepad.
Yep.
And write down everything. Just write down everything that you're feeling, why you're feeling it. Really get to the intention of the situation. And then also write down your goals and why you think you need to be in the hamster wheel to begin with.
Yeah.
Because I feel like until you unlock what that is, you can't be successful in any of your endeavors.
Yeah.
And also, I understand as adults, we do have to run through the hamster wheel because we've got to make money.
Sure.
We've got to be able to have a roof over our head and survive. And a lot of people have to do that.
Sure.
You can still, and this is another thing, you can still run that 9 to 5 and build your dream.
Of course you can.
You don't have to go in, like I see it online all the time. People say to younger people, just quit your 9 to 5 and just start with nothing. It is a toxic thing and a message to send to people that you should just go into complete debt and build something.
And expect survival.
Expect it to straight away happen like that. It takes years to build a brand. It takes years to get the networks, to speak at events, to be asked to do all of that. It's not going to happen instantaneously like how people say it is.
Or even how yours did, because that's quite exceptional.
Yeah, it's not. My story is definitely not a common occurrence. And don't beat yourself over that either, but also understand that especially if you've got children, you've got a responsibility to them as well.
Sure.
As long as you can balance it.
Yep.
Balance and manage your time, and it will make your life so much easier. And then you can have this, crazy dream life that you want because you're giving to both cups, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But don't ever do it at the sacrifice of other people or loved ones around you. Make sure that you're checking in with them and keeping them where they need to be too. And understand also that there's going to be friction because people are worried about you. I think it's also a little bit of a narcissistic culture that we have where we're very much self-focused, but it's to the point where sometimes we've got our blinders on and we can't see the other people around us and what they're going through too.
Yeah.
So be understanding that, when somebody does come up to someone and say, I'm quitting my job and I'm starting this business, that most people are probably not going to say to you, that's a really great idea.
Yeah, amazing. Go out there, do that.
Yeah.
No.
But if you have an approach and a plan that you can say to them, this is how I'm going to do it, they're more likely to support you because they can see you've got a journey, you've got, an evolution, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would probably be my advice from that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there was somebody out there listening to this and they're wanting to start out and they're struggling to maybe build their audience online and stay true to them, what would be one bit of advice you would give to them?
So firstly, for me, I think my situation was a bit different because I had a mentor straight away.
Okay.
You know,
Through the...
That was through, you know, TAM and like building up that kind of relationship. So even though I had started my network marketing business prior to that, I didn't know how to step into the online space, right? So I think the other thing is that there are so many more resources and there's so much more available. But I would say the first bit of advice would be make sure you kind of write out what it is that you want your brand to be as a person. So your things that make you uniquely you and start from there. Don't go onto the internet and try to be like somebody else because somebody else has already taken and they've already taken that section of the algorithm anyway. And all you're going to do is stuff yourself up because you're going to overthink everything. You're going to be in a different world. You're not going to be true. And people can read. If you're being fake, people feel the fakeness.
Yeah.
And it will either attract a lot of people that are like that, which is people you don't really want to be around anyway.
They're
or
not
in
going to
your
be a
circle.
customer, are they?
No. So you want authentic, you know, people. So I feel like, my story is a little bit different because of that. And I had somebody who had been in the industry for a long time. So, you know, if you can find a mentor that works with you, that's really great. But also it would just be yourself, you know, and just start. You don't have to like run the race in 6 months, you know, and be crazy like me. Just take your time, you know, even just put in once a week, like I'm going to do content on a Friday. That's a starting point. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be everything and everything all in one go.
Yeah. No, I love that. Run your own race.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And final question, the phrase, the view from here, what does it mean to you today?
I think it means to be from a certain place in life where you can look from objectively, but also inside yourself as a person.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And to be able to learn from the knowledge of your past self, but take it into the person that you are now and bridge those two things together.
Gorgeous.
And I think it's a beautiful view and it changes and life happens and things, you know, alter it. But at the end of the day, it is what you make it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, what a journey. I have absolutely relished in everything you've talked about. I think, gosh, you know, we can learn so much from not just you professionally, but you as a person and how you hold it all. I love that you own that there's different seasons and the importance of not hustling your way into everything.
Yeah.
Prioritizing your health, prioritizing what fulfills you and makes you happy, focusing on the small moments in life, the power of understanding who you are. And if you don't want to be that version, that you hold the power to be able to change that, and that there isn't a rush in life, and you know, choose your own path. It's like, remember those books, Choose Your Own Adventure?
Yeah.
You know, that is life, is picking your own adventure. Be inspired by people, but then find it for yourself and what really aligns with your values. And
don't let society tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing.
Beautiful. Well, I cannot wait to see what 2026 brings you.
Thank you.
And just keep being your beautiful self. And I know that I will be here watching and cheering you on. This has been such a riveting conversation. Get to sit here in beautiful
this has been
Crystal
absolutely
Brook.
Beautiful, and thank you so much for having me. And I can't wait to see your journey as well with your podcast and see how everything goes. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I hope everyone has got some value from today, learned something, and start writing. I think that's another thing, is just start writing things down.
Yeah.
What inspires you from today? Sit on it, write some more, see what grows from that. Don't just react because you think you're inspired in the moment by what we've talked about, but write down the thoughts and feelings that you've had arise from this. Sit on it for 24 hours, sit on it for 2 weeks, add to it, take things out, because that's already you evolving into that new version, that new identity, your new values, and what actually lands and aligns with you, not what was just a fleeting inspiration of kind of adrenaline in the moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay.